Looking to get started and eventually defend yourself from crazy blood moon assaults? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome back to the stage of gaming. I'm Extreme Raging here with Kingdom, the 2D side-scrolling strategy and resource management game with minimalistic input. Now, there's only a couple controls that you can use, left and right and down. Luckily, it's not too complicated, and this guide will guide you through your first couple of days. So right off the bat, I'd start a game and then restart it immediately so you can skip the tutorial. There's a lot of time wasted with it explaining the systems to you, so I'll explain a little bit as I go along. Obviously recruit these two guys first and put your first coin into the base camp. I wouldn't recommend getting another builder real quickly, because you're not going to build too much right off the bat. The goal right now is to recruit as many people as you can and quote-unquote herd sheep. It takes time for the recruits to come over to the bowmen, or to the base to grab bows, so it's best to start herding sheep as soon as you can. At first you're only able to recruit 4 people, which is fine. Depending on the map, we got a chapel right here. Depending on the map, it might be hard to recruit people. Keep in mind, the best way to herd sheep is to get ahead of them by sprinting, but you do run out of stamina pretty quickly. And to herd like one group of sheep successfully, you go through about 70% of your stamina, and then it makes herding pretty difficult. If you take too long to herd your sheep, the archers will start ignoring the sheep during nighttime and focus on defense only. Therefore, it's pretty important to herd sheep early. If some of the sheep kind of try to get away, see if they come back, but don't waste too much time. Alright, this one's not coming back. Now, the reason we're herding sheep is because sheep is... Why do I keep saying sheep? I'm sorry, they're deer. The deer provide a lot of income early on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 coins right off the bat, which is quite nice. These little bushes right here spawn bunny rabbits that the hunters / bowmen can kill as well for gold. But it's important to get as many bowmen as you can early, because you don't really need too many walls right off the bat, since your bowmen can take down whatever comes their way. It's starting to become nighttime, so generally I take a look to see what's going on over here on the left hand side. Sometimes there are chests that spawn. If chests do spawn, that's very good, obviously. And then I also take a look at how many sheep there are as well. I mean deer. I keep saying sheep. Try not to run out of too much stamina, because if the creatures attack you with no gold, they'll knock off your crown. And if they get your crown, you automatically lose. Unfortunately, I'm too late with herding these deer, but it's good to have them close by just in case. In fact, there's an advanced strategy you can do. Sometimes the enemies will spawn to your left or right, but usually only on one side. If they don't spawn to your left, then you're fine by staying here. If you stay here, the sheep will sometimes come back, but you can fear them away from you and make them go back to your camp. Therefore, when it turns... crap, that's not good. Alright, now I have to run away. The bowman here will defend me, but... that's nice. There we go. I'll put one wall right there for now. So when the next day spawns, you automatically get a chest right here. The chest has different amounts of gold depending on how advanced your camp is. The more advanced your camp, the less gold you actually make. So when you first start off, you get about 5 gold coins, which is really good early on. Alright, so all those deer, we all know where the deer are right now. They're over here. I don't usually start sprinting until I at least have 2, but we know there's about 5 over here on the left-hand side. Always try to bring 4 or 6 pieces of gold with you whenever you go out here in the wilderness, because there are camps that have recruits that you need to grab. Generally, it's better to get them first instead of the deer, because recruits become extremely important later on, and of course now as well, because later on you'll have a surplus of gold and not enough people to pass around. Alright, that's enough sheep. I mean deer. Ah boy. Whenever it's active, I like to put a gold piece down. It distracts the monsters in there. And that's not good. Here's a camp, finally. Unfortunately, I can't recruit them because I passed through a portal, past the portal. And if I take a hit without any gold, I could easily lose. So now I'm herding all these sheep. My focus right now is to get all these sheep killed so I can get their coins. Sometimes it can be really difficult because the sheep will just run away and completely ignore you. Trying to manage my stamina as well, because sometimes when they run away it takes a while for them to come back. About 5 seconds or so, if they don't start coming back, then just ignore them, because it's a large waste of stamina. And you need to get these sheep over to your camp before daylight ends. Otherwise, the deer won't get killed by the bowmen. There we go. I'm not sure what exactly spooks them. Obviously people, but randomly they just decide not to go the direction away from you. Sometimes they just come right at you. It's quite frustrating sometimes. Alright, that one's okay. Make up your mind. God. Herding these deer is such a pain in the butt. But as I said, it's quite important to get them. So the maps are procedurally generated. Obviously I'll be focusing more on the left. You want to focus on areas that have less camps, so you don't... there we go. Yeah. Obviously you'll be focusing on the areas that have less camps, because when you expand, you get rid of the camps and have less people to recruit, I think. I'm not fully sure on how that works. As for watchtowers, I generally ignore them. They're not that useful, but you can, if there's one by a wall, such as right here, like if it's directly behind it, then it's okay to build them. Because generally it diverts your manpower from hunting, and generally you want all your bowmen to stay together. So when you put them on a sentry post, they don't exactly stay together, and they're quite vulnerable to certain enemies as well. So right now it's day 3, we're doing pretty okay. This merchant, when you do not have farming tools and equipment, he will stockpile your building tools instead. This chapel is actually really important. I don't want to upgrade it just yet, but when you upgrade that, you also upgrade your tech. Basically, it allows you to recruit knights and build stone towers and such. That's not good. Yeah, did you see that? He got the gold instead of me. Alright, we got 2 people here. There's a chest that I mentioned earlier. It's quite a nice find to get. Sometimes it might be worth it to venture deep into the forest if you're having trouble herding sheep and find chests. Now this is a statue of a relic. I believe this one's of the bowmen. Basically, those statues and such buff the corresponding units. So for example, if this is if that's the bowmen, their bows will be a little bit more accurate, they'll shoot faster, and they'll deal more damage. And I believe they also move faster as well. Alright, let's start heading back. Since I'm approaching that portal thingy as well. Come on, dear, what are you doing? Since I'm approaching that portal thingy as well, I'm going to conserve some of my stamina. I do have a lot of gold to spare, but that doesn't mean I want to. No, that's a problem. It's important to protect your recruits. As I said before, you'll have a surplus of money all the time, so spending a couple golds here and there to make sure your recruits get back to town is very important. Life over money is the saying in this game. But unfortunately you need money to grease the wheels. Alright, so that merchant deposited his tools of trade. And it kind of sucks that it's daytime, or it's nighttime right now. But yeah, after this, you know, you have a lot of gold, you know, just keep recruiting people, keep upgrading. This will get you through the first couple of days. Generally, don't build too many towers and defensive structures, because you want your bowmen to be clustered up like this. It helps defend quite easily if they're clustered up like this. I would recommend, though, upgrading your buildings to level 2, for the walls at least. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Alright, after this, just, like I said, start upgrading. You know, get more people, get about 2 builders, maybe 3. And enjoy the game. Oh, and don't forget to upgrade that chapel eventually. You'll want knights and stone towers. It's quite good. Oh, and you'll eventually be able to, when you upgrade this to level 3, I believe, you'll eventually be able to start farms. The location of these farms will be right over here. It'll have a little waterfall next to the area that you can build water mills and farms at. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you out in your first couple of days. And as always, keep on gaming, but don't be hating.